Welcome to the Word Nest, where stories take flight. I'm one of your hosts, Moriah, and I'm here with my co-host, Amelia. And in today's quick and dirty minisode, I am going to give my top book recommendations for horror writers. So if you are a horror writer, this one is definitely for you. And if you're just somebody who really likes to read horror, please also feel free.
I am going to take it all in. Ask some questions, learn some stuff.
If you haven't noticed, Amelia is she's not a horror reader.
Although we just learned that a whole bunch of things are considered horror that I, for one, disagree with.
Yeah, I think we can get into a longer episode about genre itself and why it's stupid. But let's just get into it. Okay, so
let's get into it. So what books do you recommend?
So I don't have this is the number one book you should read. It was actually really hard when I was curating this list to not just do authors. For example, Stephen Graham Jones, who I actually have behind me. I interviewed him for the cover of Writer's Digest. But his range is so vast. He can do a horror for adults, set in a young adult's mind. He can do slashers, he can do creatures, he can do historical horror, he can do it all, basically. But I know a lot of horror writers are not in the yuck sphere of body horror,
That's my preference.
Yeah, kind of the nitty-gritty gross kind of stuff, and I do feel his work leans a little bit that way very often. So I decided to go by horror subgenres and pick my top pick in each of those subgenres. So here we go. So my first subgenre is the haunted house story. And if you're writing a haunted house story, highly, highly, highly recommend How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. It has a really, really nice blend of the horror elements, the spooky stuff, but also a really good amount of not only character development, but it's about two siblings who are kind of estranged, and they are selling their deceased parents' home, and the home is haunted. So it's about grief, it's about, re-examining your childhood, it's, getting to know your family as adults when you're still viewing them, how they were when they were X age. And it can be very emotional at times. So I think that when you're not just dealing with a house, you're dealing with a home, right? And I think it touches on a lot of those more intricate subjects. The next subgenre I would like to talk about is YA. And this one's hard because YA is not a genre, it's an age group, right? But we kind of treat it as a genre sometimes.
It's really true.
Right?
Although, and I feel no, I don't have anything to say.
But I do really recommend, just for YA generally, The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson is a really good example of writing horror for that younger audience without treating them with kids' gloves. It talks about social issues. It has some of the yuck factor, but it also is very emotional. It's very tuned in to it's set in a high school, so it's high school aged kids, but does not treat them like they are small insignificant people. Each character is very well rounded, feels very real, and it is not exactly a retelling of Stephen King's Carrie, but it does have some it does take some inspiration from Carrie.
I feel I've heard of that now that you say that.
Yeah, and that's when the book was being marketed, it was being marketed very heavily as a retelling, which did kind of surprise me because it took, like, I went into the book, like, without any context. I was like, I'm just going to pick this up and read it. And it took me quite a way through the book before I was like, wait a minute, this is like Carrie. So I think that, you know, if you're going to write something that's maybe like heavily influenced, or maybe not a direct retelling, but like kind of a wink and a nod to a very influential horror novel or horror author, you might also want to give The Weight of Blood a try. We just had a conversation before we started recording about historical horror, because Amelia has read the works of Isabel Cañas, who she pretty much exclusively does gothic horror, right?
Well, I definitely wouldn't. I mean, you know more about gothic horror than I do, but I don't think Vampires of El Norte is a gothic horror.
I think it is.
I thought gothic horror, you had to be like in the house.
No.
See, I don't know anything about the genre. Well, okay, then I guess maybe it's gothic horror.
Hold on, I have to Google it now. Is Vampires of... Oh, Google is like, is Vampires of El Norte spicy?
I don't think it was. But it had so much yearning. Oh my god.
It is considered to be a Southern vampire gothic.
Okay.
We can talk about the intricacies of gothic another time. But in this place, I do recommend Isabel, but I have to say for this one, The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones is it.
Oh, that's the one that I need to put on my TBR.
Yes.
I remember that.
And I think for me, the most impressive, like, the book is a beast in the way that it is a story within a story within a story. And it is all this kind of like almost epistolary style. So it starts in like our modern setting, and then it goes to a diary set in like, I think it's the early 1800s. It's been a while since I read the book, so that might be incorrect, but back in the day. And then it goes even further to like way back in the day. So as you're getting like deeper in the narrative, you're also getting like farther back in time. And like, just how cleanly he is able to handle that while dealing with these other genre elements is like beautiful.
Oh, she kind of does that in The Seventh Veil of Salome, which is not a horror. That is a historical fiction, historical drama.
I've never read that one.
I don't know. That one is Sylvia Morena Garcia.
Right.
That was really good. I really liked that. I did cry.
Another historical horror standout is Lone Women by Victor LaValle. I recommend anything by Victor LaValle because I love him. I adore him. Moving on, adult horror from the perspective of a child, I think is like really difficult to do. It's very easy to do that wrong because you're writing for an adult audience, but you're also trying to make the character realistic. If that's what you're tackling, you need to read Incidents Around the House by Josh Mallerman, because that is a book it'll scare the pants off you. Amelia, you can never read it. It's scary.
As soon as you were like adult horror for adults with child narrator, no, that's the nightmare.
There is one scene that literally changed my brain chemistry, and this is not a spoiler, and it's just like, so the parents are having a party, and like everybody's drinking and like getting rowdy and all this stuff, and the kid is like, she has come down, she had been put to bed, she comes down into the party and she's wandering around, and only she can see the entity as it's like moving through the party. And it was so like, it was terrifying. I was terrified. And of course, like, I was reading it at night, like rocking my infant. I was like, oh God, I'm never going to sleep again. Okay, so if you're writing short fiction, you really need to check out Other Terrors, an inclusive anthology. So that's an anthology of very short fiction, so flash to short story. And Amelia, you know someone who was published
Maria
in that
Machado
one.
in that? Oh, I do?
Yes, but I forget who it was.
Wait.
You and Margaret had known them. I'll have to look up the name after. But like, I was like, oh, I'm reading this book, and you guys were like, oh, isn't there a story by so-and-so? And I was like, yeah, and you were like, oh my God. We'll figure it out. If you're looking for interconnected novellas, Goblin by Josh Mallerman. So that, I think there are 4 or 5 novellas all set in the town of Goblin, and they're all interconnected in some way. And then for all of you cosmic horror fans out there, if you haven't read The Fisherman by John Langan, then like shame on you. I think that is a pivotal work when it comes to cosmic horror and writing cosmic horror for a modern audience. I think that's the one. And that's my list. That's what I got.
That was a great list. 10 out of 10.
Yay!
I even knew most of those authors.
Yeah.
Of course, you've talked about many of these things to me before, so I was not super surprised by all of them. Well, I have nothing to add.
Well, I feel like I was able to get like a good range of subgenre.
Wait. Let me recommend also Carmen Maria Machado. What is her short story collection called? Is it Her Body and Other Parties? She has like stories based on pop culture, and she has one based on those books from our youth, scary stories to tell in the dark or whatever. And
yes, Her
those
Body
stories
and Other Parties.
Yeah, so Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado. Mm-hmm. That story fucked me up. I didn't want to read it. I was assigned it. I didn't like it. It was very good, but it brought up my trauma with the book. Yeah. Scary Stories We Tell in the Dark.
Yep. That's one of my favorite books from childhood.
Oh my god, my cousin used to read it to me when I was like way too young, and I didn't like horror anyway. And I was like, it was not good. I do not like it. I would not recommend it to a friend. Well, I would if that was what they wanted.
If that is your thing.
Yeah. It's not for
all right.
me.
Well, I hope this gives you all a good starting place. Let us know in the comments, like, tell us, what is your like top horror? What do you recommend to other horror writers? What did I leave off the list that you were disappointed not to see?
What can I read that won't horrify me?
Very little. So that is it for today's episode. As always, please, please, please go ahead, like, comment, subscribe wherever you're listening to or watching us from. Thank you for joining us, and we can't wait to see you for this week's full-length episode. Bye.